Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm Guta. Today I'm going to give you training on the topic called Classroom English. Before I'm going to start the training, I will give you a piece of paper on which you will write your expectations. Baisa, can you distribute this paper? Thank you. So all of you are expected to write your expectations, what you expect from this training, what you wanna get from this training, and then keep the paper with you until the end of this training. Then at the end of the training, you will cross-check if your expectations align with what you get from the training. So let me give you a few seconds to write your expectations. Have you distributed, Baisa? Yeah, each of you has got the paper. Good. So just start writing. Jot down some of your expectations, what you want to get from this training. Enough. Thank you very much. I hope you've written your expectations. So I want you keep the paper with you, and then as I said earlier, you will cross-check if your expectations align with what you get from the training. Thank you very much. I want to ask you some brainstorming questions so that you may react on the questions. So my first question is, what is classroom English for you? How do you understand classroom English? And the second question is, why should we use classroom English? The reason why we use classroom English, or why it is important to learn or to take training on the issue related to classroom English. And the third question is, for whom is classroom English important? Is it important for the students, for teachers? These three questions are important questions, and they may serve as brainstorming questions to stimulate ideas in your mind. Can you say a few things about the questions? What's classroom English? Okay, Abdi. Yeah, excellent. Classroom English is the words we use in classroom. Thank you very much. Okay, Jalan. Very nice. Classroom English is the language or the phrases or the expressions teachers and the students use in classroom. I appreciate your participation, not only the participation, but your concept also. I understood that you have the concept about classroom English. So, why do we use classroom English? Okay, come again. Excellent. We use classroom English for communication. Okay, in classroom, teachers communicate with students and students communicate with teachers, and students also communicate among themselves with one another. So what you said is correct. We use classroom English for communication. Very nice. And the third brainstorming question says, for whom is classroom English important? Is it for students alone? Is it for teachers alone? Or for both? What do you think? Marcos? Good. Classroom English is important for both teachers and students. Yeah, very nice. How? Can you justify? Can you say something how classroom English is important for both teachers and students? We all agree that classroom English is important for both teachers and students. Yeah, his answer is right. But how? How important it is for both teachers and students? Teachers use classroom English to communicate with the students. Yeah, you said this earlier. And students also are expected to ask questions for clarifications and whatever, and for classroom discussion, classroom activities. So in that way, without using classroom English, it may be difficult to communicate in the classroom. So let's come to the detail. Most of the time, teachers are criticized of using the language other than English in their classroom. What about your experience? Do you use a target language in your classroom when you teach English, or you use another language to teach English? What do you comment about this? Is it right? Why do teachers do this? If the reality is there, and you all also can evaluate yourself. Why teachers, most of the time English language teachers use the language other than English in their classroom when teaching English? For example, let me tell you some responses from 4 teachers, and then you will comment their responses actually. When asked about this, 4 teachers responded in different ways. Teacher A said, my students do not understand my lesson if I teach in English. So to help them understand, I use another language in classroom. That means mother tongue. Don't you think this has its own problem? For example, in a multilingual classroom, what is the mother tongue of the students in classroom? What if you help your students practice to understand English rather than using other language in your classroom? The second teacher said, I myself do not have confidence in using English in my classroom. Actually, it's transparent enough. So is it good to tend to use other language in classroom, being English language teacher? Which one is good? Practicing and updating oneself and trying. So if you don't have confidence in your language, how can you make your students to be confident enough to use the language, to improve their language? So first of all, to make your students improve their language, to help your students improve their proficiency, you need to have confidence as a teacher. So if you say that I don't have confidence, and then you prefer using other language as a solution in your classroom, so what the importance of teaching that language? So it's better for you to improve your confidence and to boost your confidence and to improve your language first. The third teacher actually said that his students like him when he uses mother tongue in classroom when teaching English. What do you think the fallacy behind this response? Do we teach to be liked by our students or to help them improve their language, to help them get some inputs? So this is what we call cheap popularity. Whether our students like us or not, we need to do what we should do. These students may like us today, but in the future, when they understand that they fail to use English properly because of the teacher, they start cursing him back. So this is also the reason which is not acceptable. The first teacher showed his resistance to use English. He said, I don't want to use English in my classroom. So if he doesn't like, actually, you shouldn't teach it. If you hate it, if you don't like teaching English, don't teach it. Rather than coming to the class in the name of being an English teacher, but resist to use it in your classroom, it's meaningless. So which one you agree with? Bring it to your context. You may also be one of them. Whatever problem we have in using English in our classroom, actually, we may have problems, but the best solution is actually identifying our problem and trying to work on it. First of all, before we try to improve our students, we need to improve ourselves. There are many ways, so try to do level best. As far as we are English teachers, the only solution that we can do is practicing and improving and developing our confidence so that we can help our students. So if we start from the definition, classroom English, what does it mean? Classroom English is functional expressions and phrases that we can use in our classroom for communication or it is a collection of functional words. It's a collection of functional expressions, phrases that are used among teachers and students, especially from good morning or good afternoon to goodbye. There are lots of expressions. Our class may run for 1 hour or 40 minutes, depending upon the context. So if it is, for instance, for 1 hour, so in that 1 hour, we are expected to use many expressions, many phrases for our communication, to convey message, to communicate with our students. So taking training or learning classroom about classroom English means familiarizing oneself with those expressions, which are very important to run class, to start class, to run class, to end the class. Actually, there are 3 categories. First one is beginning the class. How can we begin the class? How can we run the class? And then how can we end the class? For all these 3 categories, there are common expressions, common phrases. So our responsibility here is only familiarizing ourselves with those expressions and phrases and practicing them daily so that we can effectively use in our classroom. That's why we say classroom English is a collection of phrases, expressions that are used among teachers and students from good morning or good afternoon to goodbye. There are 3 categories. So when we begin the class, immediately when we come to the class, in the morning, if it is in the morning, what do we say? For example, there are situations for which we use the expressions. So for example, greeting is one situation. So when we come to class in the morning to start our class, we greet. So what are the common expressions that a teacher should use to greet his students? For example, if it's in the morning, we say good morning. If it's in the afternoon, we say good afternoon. Or generally, we can also say, you can use another expressions for greeting. Abovich. You seem to say something. Can you say? Yeah, good. How are you? Yeah, how are you? We can also say, Almaz. Yeah, we can say hello. Yeah, we can say hello. So these are the greeting expressions. When it comes to greeting, good morning, good afternoon, how are you, hello, all these can serve as expressions. So as teachers, to be effective in using classroom English, familiarizing ourselves with those expressions is very important. And for example, if you are a new teacher for the class, you need to introduce yourself to the students. What are the expressions that you are expected to use in classroom to introduce yourself? Self-introduction. It's very important. Just simply, you come to the class, you first need to introduce yourself. This is actually the situation. But for this situation, there are expressions, alternative expressions are there. What are those expressions? For example, your name? Your name? Debala. Okay, Debala. Okay, my name is, yeah, you can say, my name is, okay, I am, yeah, you can say, my name is Debala, or I am Debala. So these are expressions. Practicing and trying them again can make us perfect, and we can confidently use in our classroom. Now, after starting the class by greeting, by introducing, the next step is actually running the class. This takes much of the time we have. There are even spontaneous situations for which we need spontaneous expressions to use. For example, you need to ask your students to keep quiet to start the class. So there are expressions for this. Please keep quiet. We are to start. Please pay attention. Please your attention. Can we start? Are you done? There are lots of expressions to be used. So this is the way we can manage to use them. You can also ask them to open the textbook. You are on pages, open your book, pages, and you may also press latecomers. This is actually spontaneous. You need to respond to the latecomer. When the door is knocked, you should say something. Get in, sit down, don't do it again, don't come late again. Can you add some more? Okay, no problem. You can think of it. You can also give feedback for your students on their performance, on their work. You appreciate. You appreciate. You give constructive feedback. What are the expressions that we can use to give feedback for our students on their performance, on their work? Yeah, good work. It's better. We are also appreciating and encouraging for the next work. Excellent work, good attempt, good try. This time is good. Correct answer. You can improve a little bit. We can also use classroom instructions. We can ask questions. We can command. We can request. Actually, classroom instructions can be divided into three. Can you tell me what are they? Suggestion. In the form of suggestion, we can give classroom instruction. In the form of command, we can give classroom instruction. In the form of request, also we can give classroom instruction. Please be in 3 or in 4 and give one example for the 3 ways of giving instruction. As you sit together, discuss. You also discuss together. You three together. Yeah. Try to share ideas about the 3 ways of giving instruction in classroom. And then can you give me example for each of them? For example, how can we give instruction by using command? Stop. Enough. It's enough. Okay. Stop writing. Yeah. Stop writing. Good. Open the window. Open the window. Wow. What is this? It's a command. We are giving instruction using what? We using command. So this is also one way of using classroom English. So the other way, what about request? Okay, yeah. Would you please open the window? Good. This is request now. Would you give me a pen? Would you lend me your pen? Nice. This is actually request. So using request, we can give instruction. And then the third one is suggestion. How can we give instruction using suggestion? Yeah, let's finish the assignment. You can say, let's finish the assignment. Let's get rest. Good. Let's do together. Good. All these are instructions, but in the form of suggestion. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's write. Let's finish. Let's go out. These are suggestions, but it's still the instructions. So there are 3 forms of giving instruction in classroom. The first one is command, open the window, open the door, and the second one is request, let's submit our assignment. This is suggestion. And the third one is actually request. Would you give me your pen, please? Would you allow me to sit down here, please? Would you tell me the answer? So these are very important issues. Most of the time we use them in our classroom. Lastly, we end our class. So when we end our class, we use different expressions. You can say, it's time to leave, it's time to go, now it's time to stop. Then at the end, you give assignment or homework. Do the activity on this page as your assignment and come up with your answer tomorrow. You can say, You may also give assignment, do this assignment in group, in pair, or individually. So finally, one question that is not answered actually is we said classroom English is important for both teachers and students. Teachers can communicate with the students using classroom English, the common expressions we raised, we mentioned. So a teacher can give instruction, a teacher can give activities, set activities, inform students to be in group. For example, in classroom, teacher can form a group for discussion. So this also needs classroom English. Being group of 3, being group of 4 students, and come together, do this activity as you sit together in pair. All these are classroom English. I'm going to give you a handout which contains expressions with the situations in which they should be used. Then you will study them. Not only study, but you will practice them. Because I want to tell you that in the second session, we'll have micro teaching practice. You will demonstrate what you learned in classroom. So have this concept in your mind and practice the expression and phrases with their situations, which I'm going to give you, and try to prepare yourself for the demonstration, for the actual practice in classroom. And each of you should select one topic and prepare your micro teaching. And we will see how you can use classroom English in your class. So this is the way you can improve. And if you keep on doing this again and again, you can improve and build your confidence also. So we said it is important for teachers in all the ways we said, in giving instruction, in setting activities, in organizing groups in classroom, in talking with the students disturbing classroom. Please keep quiet, come and sit here. The one over there, please don't disturb, keep quiet. Would you please pay your attention? So we can say all these things. And it is also equally important for students, classroom English. How classroom English is important for our students? What are the situations in which our students can use classroom English? You told me your name? Biggest. Okay, biggest. How important classroom English is for students? In what situation do our students use classroom English? Good. They may ask question for clarification. Yeah. So to ask question, our students use classroom English. They use English. They use phrases. They use expressions. So they should use it. That's why we say classroom English is important for our students too. What else? In what situation do our students use classroom English? You want to say something? Very nice. To give additional information, to comment on what the teacher said. Yeah, to give additional information. Yeah, sometimes our students can add extra information about something on what the teacher says. I liked your participation. It's very nice. It shows that you are motivated. You have to say something. Good. When they do activities in group or in pair, they need classroom English to communicate with each other. So during group discussion, they can also use classroom English. Okay? Yeah. To ask permission, maybe to go out. If they want to go out, to ask permission as a teacher teaches. If one student wants to go out for some emergency call, they may ask for permission. Yeah, to ask permission, they may use classroom English. Nice. So generally, we can say classroom English is very important for both teacher and students. And the only solution if we are not able to use classroom English is actually practicing. So we need to practice and improve and advise our students also to improve their classroom English. We need not to be criticized as a teacher using language other than English, but assessing English. Paradox. Most of the time, teachers are criticized of using the language other than English in their classroom, but assessing in English. Paradox. So finally, you give exam, you assess continuously your students' performance, you give quizzes and whatever test is in English. But if you keep on using the language other than English during teaching, it doesn't align. Teaching in another language, assessing in English. Now, so let's use the target language and let's focus on our weaknesses and invest our time to improve. No problem. So the reason why we are here today is actually for that purpose. So study the common expressions and the phrases that are important to be used in our classroom and practice them. What are the expressions that need to be used to begin the class? What are the expressions which are common to be used in classroom to run the class? And what are the common expressions to be used to in the class? If we familiarize ourselves with them and if we practice them, we can confidently use them in our classroom and our students can also use and can be beneficiaries. So these are all about what we have for today. Do you have any question before we stop? Okay, if no question, my suggestion is please study and practice, study and practice, study and practice. Do together and share ideas, help one another. And next time we meet for the micro teaching. Next time I mean it's next week. Let me give you 1 week time and you study the expressions and you select your topic and you conduct your micro teaching and we'll see how you implement and how you use the expressions and we'll give you comments for improvement. So get ready and think